So if you really want to understand who's shaping Britain's political future, you can't start with Downing Street or Parliament, or even the media. You have to start with a quiet strategic organisation founded in 1884, one that's spent over a century reshaping Britain from the inside. You may have heard of them, the Fabian Society. So the Fabians believe revolutions failed because they were too chaotic, they were too sudden, and they were too obvious. So they built an entirely different strategy. Slow, gradual, generational change. Transform society not by force, but by influence. Not through riots, but through institutions. Their original logo was literally a wolf in sheep's clothing, but they later dropped it because it was too honest about their methodology. They focused on three engines for long-term power: education, civil service, and politics. And over the decades, they've quietly become embedded in all three of them. Today, the Fabian Society is formally affiliated with the Labour Party in the UK, and its influence runs straight through the heart of the Labour leadership. This isn't speculation, it's not conspiracy, it is public record. And after this video, go onto Google and type in the Fabian Society and see for yourself. Keir Starmer, the leader of the Labour Party, he served on the Fabian Society's executive committee. Wes Streeting, Annalise Dodds, our favourite Sadiq Khan, Alison McGovern, many others as well have spoken at Fabian conferences, published Fabian reports and worked closely with Fabian policy networks. Type again into Wikipedia and you'll get a lot more comprehensive list than that. The society itself openly states that hundreds of Labour MPs, councillors and advisors, activists, they're all involved in their work. Now that doesn't mean that every one of them is a formal paying member, and we won't know that because their membership list is private, but the ideological influence is undeniable. And when you look at Labour's modern platform, its social policies, its economic direction, its cultural messaging, it aligns almost perfectly with decades of Fabian writings. So what do the Fabians want? They want a society managed by planners, experts and administrators. As a society where the state directs economic life, redistributes wealth, reshapes culture and engineers social outcomes. It's very much like Maoist China, and that's like where they've got their communist roots coming from. But they don't want to do it through revolution. They don't want to do it through overnight change, but through decades of small, incremental steps, each one justified, each one sounding reasonable. Lots of problem, reaction, solution, or Helgian dialectical debates to kind of steer us to agree with what they're trying to achieve. Each one of them, though, is moving the country further and further away from individual choice and more towards this technocratic control. And this is why the Fabian method is so powerful. It's patient, it's strategic, and it's generational. And because it works slowly, people will barely notice the direction of travel until it's too late to turn back. The Fabians don't even deny their influence. They're proud of it. They describe themselves as Britain's oldest political think tank. And they openly train, groom and shape the next generation of Labour leadership. And with Labour now in power in the UK, the ideas of the Fabian Society, the ideology of the slow managed transformation of Britain, it will be at the centre of our politics until at least 2029. And this is why we're looking at the Fabian Society. Not because it's hidden, but because its influence is so woven into the system that most people will never even think to question it. If you want to understand where Britain is heading, you need to understand the people who've been quietly steering the ship for over a century.